This is the OneXPlayer Apex with the AMD Max AI 395 8060 Si GPU. Incredibly powerful handheld. I'm going to go through Resident Evil Requiem here. I'm going to test quite a bit. This is not going to be a, I'm just going to watch this in 10 seconds and flip through. Not a low attention span video, so feel free to leave before we get into it. I am going to test various settings from 1080p max all the way through scaling, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to test it on external displays. I'm going to test it with the built-in cooling here, and I also have the frost bay here because I want to see how this thing performs under all the scenarios. We'll start with the Leon section here. The Leon section is much harder to run than the Grace section. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to test this thing on the highest setting. Let's just sit here, and we're going to do some wattage testing more than anything. So I'm just going to get the static scene right here. Let's come in here. Now I do have the frost bay. There's different settings you can do with the frost bay. I have it set to relative, like soft. You can put it to silent. You can make it really quiet. I'm just going to leave it at like a quieter mode, just so it's not really loud on camera. But just be aware, you can make this thing like really quiet, or you can have it loud. It's your choice, whatever you want. Okay, so we'll come here for a second. And let's go into the game. There we go. Okay, so let's test some wattage, because that's what we care about here. So we're going to come here, we're going to go to 120. And then check the performance. Okay, so in this scene, we're at 70 FPS. Now, just be aware, this system can also use the internal cooling, like the fans here, and the liquid cooling at the same time. If this liquid cooling is set to very low, you might need a little bit of air fan, depending on what watts you're on. If you crank the liquid cooling, then this thing will just turn off. It won't be needed anymore. But anyways, so that's 120 watts. Look at the frames there. This is native, 1080p native. Max. Let's come all the way down to that. No performance change. Okay, come down further at 80. Give it a sec. 1 frame. We lost 1 frame. Okay, so at 80 watts, you're getting what I would consider the same performance as 120 watts. Your pick. You can do both. 120 watts is really going to be more for when you're doing like desktop. When you use this thing as a desktop for heavy CPU stuff, which you can, obviously. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come all the way down to 70. No performance change, really, like maybe 1 frame. Okay, now we're going to start coming down by 5 watt increments. Okay, now the internal fan just turned off. At 70 watts, the internal fan will turn off, and only the pump will run when we're under silent mode on the pump. That's why I typically like that 70, and you're not really losing your performance. I think we're down 2 total frames. Let's go all the way down to 55. So we're still maintaining above 60 FPS native max gaming at 55 watts. Let's go down further. Okay, 50 watts, we lost 1 frame. So 50 watts now, and look at the temperature, right? The liquid cooling is not running that hard, and the internal fan is not running at all. It might turn on for a second or two, but it's not actually like running. Okay, we'll come down here. Go to 55. I guess I could just use the mouse and keyboard, it's probably easier. Okay, look at that. We're now still close to 60, just not quite at 60. We'll come there. 55 on 40 watts. Now 40 watts is what your average handheld will do. Like if you get a Windows handheld, ROG Ally, Legion Go, that kind of stuff, they typically go to like 37 or 40 watts, like around there, when they're totally maxed out. So this is basically the same thing. It's running very cool, 45 degrees at 40 watts, and we're getting close to 60 FPS. And the lows are super good too, so it's not like it's having problems here yet. So let's go to 37. I think that's what some of the handhelds can do. 37 watts, look at that. Come on. Okay, we'll come down a little further. We're going to go all the way down to 30. Now we're seeing a drop, right? We're still at 41 though. The game is maxed out with no scaling. Okay, let's come down a little further. 37, still playable. A lot of consoles will run at 30 FPS. If you're going for pure fidelity, again, 25 watts. This is like I'm on a plane and I need to have battery life. Let's go down to 20 here. We're now below 30 at 20 watts. Okay, so everything totally maxed out. You can go to 25 watts and you'll be above 30. Now, here's the other thing we can do though. Watch this. So we'll close that down, come over here. and we'll just throw on some scaling. Again, we are totally maxed out here, right? Just to show you, just do this live. Max, max, ray tracing high. This thing is maxed out. This is crazy. I mean, I knew it was going to be good, but there's like, you don't necessarily know how good it's going to be. Okay, so let's come in here. We'll throw in like our balanced scaling or something like that, maybe. Okay, so on balanced scaling, with everything maxed out, obviously 20 watts is a little bit too much. Let's come up here, 25. It's a big jump, right? 25. It's like 45, 50. Now you're playing the game. And again, this is the Leon section. It's very hard to run. Let's go up to 30 and see if we can get 60. It's close, right? So that's with the game fully maxed out, fully maxed out. You don't need any scaling at all whatsoever, provided that you're okay with the higher wattages. But if you really want to bring those wattages down, again, we're on liquid cooling here with the temperatures. If you really want to bring those wattages down, you can essentially just throw it into a little bit of scaling or something like that. Okay, so now let's come back. We'll put it back up to 80. I think 75 was fine, but we'll put it to 80 just for now. Again, totally maxed out. Let's turn off scaling again. No scaling. I am totally fine using the lightest amount of scaling, but let's just turn it off. And then we're going to come back here and we're going to restart this section. We're going to go through it with the game fully maxed native 1080p. No scaling, no shenanigans, just ripping. And again, you can bring down the wattages if you want, but I just want to show what it can do. And I'm not at 120, I'm at 80. It doesn't make a difference, so whatever. Let's see if we can maintain a static, like average above 60 this whole time. We're pretty close. Look at that. And there's a lot going on with people running around there. Saved that guy. Oh no, he died actually. Oh, didn't see that guy. Get out of here. Let's melee him actually. It's good. Get wrecked. So I mean, yeah, we can continue on, but you can see here how incredibly powerful the system is. It's crazy. It's crazy good. Right? So you're going to be maxing the game out. You're going to be, again, this is ray tracing and everything maxed out. I could test it with less ray tracing. I could test it with less things. But we're getting 60 with ray tracing with no scaling. You have to be impressed. I'm sorry, but you must be impressed. I demand that you are impressed. Okay. So we know what it can do. It's crazy good. It's crazy good. Let's actually just kick out and we'll go into air cooling. So we'll see what we can do with the air cooling and come back. Okay, so now we're back into the game and we're on air cooling. The liquid is completely unhooked here, so we're just running on that. We'll just see what we can get here. So again, we're at those fairly high watts. This thing can allow pretty high watts on air cooling, right? We'll see if it gets hot. It will get hot at 80 watts. It's a lot of watts for air cooling. But let's just give it a moment here. So maybe I'll let it run for like 5 minutes on 80 watts on air cooling and we'll come back. And we're back. Okay, it's been, I don't know, it's been like 3 minutes and I got bored because it's not changing. The wattages, the fans got louder and it went up and down and it did make a huge difference there. Again, we're not doing, this is not a full test, but let's see how noisy this thing is with the fans on the system itself going max. There's also someone using an air blower outside my window, just so you know. He's been there for like 2 hours. I can't do anything about it. And this is close. This is like, that's how close that is. Right, if I move this back. So it's going to be like, it'll be as loud as, a laptop or something like that. Totally fine. But we're doing air cooling, right? And it'll get a little warm, but the fans will just go up and down as needed, right? It'll go up, it'll go down, it'll go up and down. So you can actually sustain with air cooling 80 watts. That's crazy. Be honest. Just be honest. Think about that. Think about it. Pause for a second before you think anything. That's 80 watts on a handheld, and it is not throttling. At least not a lot. Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. So let's come down here. Remember, we were saying before that the thing runs very similar at 70 watts. It'll just start to get cooler. Now, you're not going to get a lot of battery, but I'm plugged in, so what does it matter on 70 watts? Let's keep coming down. 60. Again, air cooling, and it's getting cooler, right? This thing has pretty robust cooling, right? At 80, it was able to keep itself under 80 degrees. With 60, and again, air cooling, not liquid cooling. Come down further. It's just going to keep getting cooler and cooler. Now we're starting to see a little bit of performance drop, but we're still at over 50 FPS. This is still like full play here. Of course, we can go to the gray section in a minute too, because the gray section is way easier to run. Okay, it's 40. We're still at 50 FPS. This is still fully playable. I could fully just play the game in 50 FPS. Like, let's be honest. You can play a game at 50 FPS. It doesn't have to be at 60. It's a handheld. You can also just use some scaling. So we'll come down here. 30 is where like it just starts to become like quiet. And look at that. And again, we already know that if you throw in some scaling, it pretty much saves the day. So if you for some reason want the game absolutely maxed out and you don't want to use that extra watts, you can, as we've seen, you can just, it keeps it cool, but you want the thing to be quieter. Like you want the device to physically be quieter. You know, throw in some scaling, something like that. And again, it's now very quiet. It's still, you can hear it. Again, there's also a dude outside with a thing. There's nothing I can do about it, unfortunately, but we're at 45 dB. And the dude with his machine is outside is louder than this handheld, we'll put it that way. Again, he's been doing it for hours, so I just don't think they're going to stop. I'd have to go to like a park or something to do this video otherwise. So it's crazy. This thing is crazy. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, let's kick out real quick. We'll go back and we'll do it. Let's just turn off ray tracing, but let's just go like air. Okay, we're back. So some people don't care so much about ray tracing. Like actually a lot of people, to be honest. The thing is you can. That's the thing. You can. If you care about it, you can get crazy frames with ray tracing. Let's turn it off. Everything else is still maxed, right? Max, air, whatever. We'll turn off scaling to start. And what we'll do here is we'll do that little pew scene again with Leon, but we're going to be at everything maxed except for no ray tracing now. And again, we can do it with ray tracing. We just don't necessarily need ray tracing. So we'll put this back up to 80 and just see what we can get. I don't know why I did that so slowly. Fully maxed out. Again, this is the game fully maxed, native, but no ray tracing. 80 FPS. I'll just stand here. It's totally fine. Sorry, 80 watts and 70 FPS. We'll come down. Let's just jump way down. Because at 50, it was starting to get like pretty quiet, right? 65 FPS. Game fully maxed out, just no ray tracing, no scaling. Now we are at 50 watts, but that's okay. Let's come all the way down to 37. That's what the other handhelds can do as their peak. They're not even close to this. Not even close. Right, we're almost at 60 FPS. Game maxed out, just no ray tracing, no scaling. This is native 1080p. You just, yeah, it is what it is. I don't need to get too pushy with my narrative here. You can see it. Even at 30 watts with no ray tracing, we're at 45 FPS. Okay, so now I would probably use scaling. I mean, you can, again, you can play at 45 FPS. That's a lot of consoles are doing that. 45 FPS is kind of their like balanced mode. But we can throw on scaling, so we'll go like that. And again, this is just one game. This is not performance testing of the handheld. This thing doesn't even have, doesn't have all the same, tech. It doesn't have necessarily everything that other ones will have. It doesn't have XeSS, doesn't have all that. I prefer XeSS. So anyways, so this is 60 FPS now on 30 watts. Everything maxed out except for no ray tracing. Let's come down a little bit further. We'll come all the way down to 25. still at a respectable level here. Let's go back up to 30. I'm gonna start to close off the video here. We'll just go through 30 here. Again, we're plugged in, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna go to like a pretty low wattage, you know, like plain mode. We'll put it that way. So you can see here. I'll just do this walkthrough, and again, this is a brutal scene here with all these NPCs. This is starting to kill the CPU. Right, once they start to clear out a little bit, it'll go back up. Right, it's already going back up. Still a lot of NPCs though, obviously. Get a little closer. Ooh, no ammo. I could just turn it up, but I kind of want to also hear the system. So, because we're at lower. Can you hear that guy outside with his whatever machine? I'm sorry for that. There's just I waited. It's like the afternoon now. I want to do this in the morning. I've been waiting all day, and he just won't stop. So there's nothing to be done. Look at that though, 50 freaking FPS. You have to love it. Okay, so that's good. We'll do one more thing, and then we'll go into the grace section, which is like the easy, much easier. So let's say you're gonna get on a plane, and you're like, man, I need the battery life. This thing will power off USB-C, by the way, but just, you know, you're like, I need the battery life. We're turn off hair strands. We're gonna put it to normal, and let's actually turn off scaling to start, and then we'll kind of close it out. So this is normal, no hair strands, native, right? 30 watts. And it's a 60 FPS experience. Easy. Again, you can use scaling. So what we'll do here is we'll throw on the scaling and we'll start turning it down even further for lower watts. So we'll come back here. We'll throw on the scaling, FSR 3.1. Balance is fine. I wouldn't use performance at 1080p. It just won't look good. But balance is fine. Come over here. And again, we can see the settings there. Very good. Okay. And again, this would emulate being on a battery. I just don't want to take out the battery right now, but we can do that. Where's the battery? Okay, we'll plug in the battery. If you're plugged in, there's no point in doing this. Like if you're plugged into the wall, we've already proven in this video that it can handle and cool itself at 80 watts on the CPU. So, you know, you don't need to do what I'm doing right now. But this is like battery mode testing, right? So we'll just give that a sec. Make sure it's plugged in. Okay. If I can get it. There we go. Now we're on battery. Okay. Nothing plugged in. Battery mode. And the reason I'm doing this is see, battery. This is like, all right, I'm getting on a plane now. So I mean, you could do battery at 55 watts, right? Like it'll let you, right? You're allowed to do 55 watts on battery, which is very respectable, right? It gives you those extra frames. But if you're on a plane, you're probably going to bring it down to something like 30, something like that, maybe, which is still, you know, we're not losing much performance here. Or you're going to start to go down. 25 watts. 25 watts. 1080p medium. Let's go down further. 20 watts. Now we're starting to see a little bit of drop off. But again, it's 20 watts and we're getting 45 FPS in the most demanding scene here. Brutal. Right? Let's 15 is where, like, it doesn't do well at 15, but I'll just show you. 15 is pretty low. This is one game. This is, you know, Resident Evil. We already shown that. It's going to give you 30 though. You still play, but it's starting to be like, just throw those extra 5 watts on. It's such a performance bump to just be like that, if I can get it. Right? Like that's such a performance bump where it's like actually legitimately playable. So if you're going on a plane, I mean, this is an incredibly hard to run game. It's optimized well, but it's an incredibly hard to run game. So there's so much that you can do with what you have here. And you can play how you want. Do you want high watts? Do you want low watts? You choose. It's your device. So we'll come here now, and we're going to go to Mrs. Grace, the spooky girl. And you'll just see a huge performance jump because there's not like rain, reflections, shadows, people running around, and boom, like in this 75, right? Now remember, half of this game is not running around, and probably more, I mean, more than half of the game is not running around in rain with hundreds of NPCs running around. This is going to be reflective of at least half the game, if not more. right? 20 watts. Look at the performance here. And this is where you're like, all right, let's turn it up because it's a spooky section, right? Imagine this on a plane or a train. Let's go lower now. It will still drop down, but I mean, it's so much easier to run here. See that? 15 watts, 1080p, normal, a little bit of scaling. You could turn it up if you wanted, but I mean, it's still running really well. Right? If I was on a train or a plane and I was flying, this is how I would play. I'd just be like, you know what? Let's go with 15 watts because it's a big battery. You're going to get through a flight, unless your flight's crazy. You're going to get through a flight with this kind of thing, and you're getting very respectable performance. And then maybe you jump into the Leon sections. You know, you're outside and it's just getting crazy with Leon. Okay, well at that point, you know, you're probably going to want to crank it up a little bit. Yeah, you're going to drain a little bit more battery, but it'll be fine. Play a little bit longer, and then, you know, run through that section and then turn the watts back down. But I think for a lot of people, like, you know, depending on how long, not everything is a super long flight. 20 watts, like, come on, guys. That extra 5 watts, look at that performance. It is legitimately worth it for an extra 5 watts. It's very good. So, yeah, I'm going to have a full review of this handheld here. I'm going to have lots of game testing coming. You know, I didn't want to rush this one. I mean, there's some other good content creators out there who are also doing good stuff. Nelly, Gaming Repairs is a really good one. She's Canadian as well, from the same province as me. And she has a lot of like tutorials. She has testing as well, but she has a lot of tutorials. I will actually link to some of her videos down below as well. You can check her out. She has really good stuff. And she does a lot of like mods, upgrades, tweaks, that kind of stuff. It's different than me. That's like, she gets really into the weeds of all that kind of stuff, like really owning the handheld and making it your own, whereas I'm like a reviewer and an overviewer and a tester. She really makes you guys like understand what it's like to actually own that product and like make it your own, tweak it, customize it, all that kind of stuff. So check that out. But anyways, like, come on. There's gonna be a lot more to come. This thing's crazy. This thing is crazy.